Okay, now we should be going. Welcome everybody to the SportsCast. You might notice I'm sitting on the wrong side. Let me pop over here. At least that way I can kind of at least contain some internal consistency. Welcome everybody to the SportsCast. My name is Ben. I would normally be joined by my co-host, comrade, and colleague, Granville, the jailbird of Alcatraz, Sexton. But unfortunately, he is indisposed today. He's helping out at his high school's graduation, so I am rolling solo today. So a little bit like the past. Let's see how we do today. So I'm trying to look at my list of topics for the Sportscast. Generally, I like to go back and rewatch USFL, or we talk a little bit about the USFL to begin off the show. I haven't watched any of the USFL this week, and I actually haven't seen any of the recaps at all. So, let's see how. Okay. That's great, actually. Okay, so let's I guess go from the top here. So, Tampa Bay Bandits beat the Michigan Panthers 27-20. And one thing I did notice, I did read a little bit of the response to this game from the community over at the USFL Reddit page. Shea Patterson. I've been complaining to Granville about being a Michigan Panthers fan for the sole reason of Shea Patterson being the quarterback, but Patterson has been playing better over the last couple weeks. Every game he's been improving, so say the people who watched every game. So in this game, Shea Patterson went 23 for 37, so 62% completion percentage, 304 yards, averaging 8.4 yards an attempt, with one touchdown and one interception. So overall, doing much better than he did over the last couple of weeks. They still ended up losing the game, but that's beyond the point. Jordan Tiamu was an effective passer. Went 15 of 24, 62% completion percentage for 207 yards with 2 touchdowns and 8.6 yards an attempt. Tiamu hasn't really... people were saying that Tiamu was going to be the star of this league, that he was going to be throwing the ball all over the field, but they've really been sparing with the use of Tiamu, and this is probably the best game that he's played so far. The running back, Washington, for the Bandits. Can I get a name here? They're not going to give me a name? Okay, Washington. I don't know his first name. Had 14 attempts for 50 yards with 2 touchdowns, 2 goal line situation touchdowns generally, long of 30 yards, averaging 3.4 yards an attempt. So kind of rough there on the ground. Michigan leading rusher Patterson had 8 attempts, 46 yards, along of 14 at 5.6 yards at an attempt. There were 2 receiving touchdowns. Wait, what? Yes, there were 2 receiving touchdowns in this game because Jay Walker, who is a receiver, I believe. I'm not sure. He's not, unless they got a different backup from what's his face? Not Drew Lock, but the other one, Paxton Lynch. Unless they got a different quarterback than Drew, I'm already forgetting the name again. Paxton Lynch. If they got a different, somebody else besides Paxton Lynch as their backup quarterback, Jay Walker came in, threw a 30-yard strike for a touchdown. So on his one pass of the game. So maybe throw him in a little bit more. You never know. Let's look at one thing about the USFL this year, and it's been really good if you're a fan of football, is that most of these games are coming down to one score. Because going last 3 drives of the game, or last 3 meaningful drives of the game, were touchdown. So Michigan was, in the fourth quarter, Michigan was started down 13-20. Then punt. Michigan scores a touchdown And that one was Shea Patterson, deep touchdown pass, 25 yards, to put them or to tie them in the game, 2020 with Tampa Bay. 6 minutes left to go. Then Tampa marches down the field, or even marches, it sprints down the field, 5 plays, and taking 2 minutes 20 seconds off the clock, and take Washington has his long rush, that long of 30 yards, with 3:46 left, ends up scoring a touchdown, and Tampa Bay makes the extra point. And then finally, with mere minutes left to go in the game, Michigan starts driving. They get it to to their 41, and Patterson makes a short pass to the middle of the field, caught by a guy named Scarlett, who gains 6 yards and then fumbles, and Tampa Bay picks it up. So a game that came down to the wire with a game-winning drive. There hasn't been a lot of game-winning drives over the course of this season. There's been a lot of games that have come down to game-losing drives, I guess, where talked about last week with the Panthers, and they doink a field goal from 21 yards out to lose, or this game where they had a shot at winning and fumbles it away. So really, it's in the grand tradition of Michigan sports, the Michigan pro football team seems to be a little cursed when it comes to it. But I shouldn't be laughing too heartily, because my New Orleans Breakers, I truly believe, were upset in their game versus the New Jersey Generals, 17-27. New Jersey definitely looks like they have a lock on the North Division title. I don't think there's another team in the North that can compete with, they can't really compete with the Generals. Generals are 4-1 currently, with Michigan's now at 1-4. Pittsburgh's now at 1-4. We'll talk about that in a second. And Philadelphia also at 2-3. So it looks like now, with like 5 games left to go, then it looks like it could be definitely New Jersey's division to lose in that. But look at the box score real quick. Kyle Slater went 15 for 36 with 41.7 completion percentage, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. And again, looking at the Reddit response from that, it definitely feels like Sloter is feeling his injury again, the groin injury that has really cost him this whole year. Next week the Breakers play the Pittsburgh Maulers. So if there's any time in this season for a team to take a break, to take, just a half a second, and rest your starting quarterback, it is versus the Pittsburgh Maulers. Or the Houston Gamblers, it looks like. So either way, give him some time to recover from this injury, because he can play better than this, and he has played better than this already this season several times. Looking at the Generals' offense, they finally decided to go with one quarterback, it looks like. Luis Perez did not get a passing attempt in this game. DeAndre Johnson went 14 for 21 for 213 yards, averaging 10 yards an attempt, and had had 1 interception, no touchdowns through the air. Rushing, he did have 2 touchdowns on the ground, though. He ran 10 times for 39 yards, 14 yards at longest. And Victor, the running back, their starter running back, went 95 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown, and did pretty good. Early on this season, I remember talking about how the Breakers defense would be the best defense in the league, and it looked like when they were facing whoever they faced in Week 1, it may have been the Maulers, the Philly Stars. No, it was the Tampa Bay Bandits in Week 2, which was really when we thought that they were going to be the best. But over the last couple weeks, the Houston Gamblers, who lost to the Pittsburgh Maulers today, so they aren't really a good team in themselves, they scored 16 points on them. The Stallions scored 22 points on them. And I think that you could, if Slaughter wasn't injured, you can easily put this New Orleans team as maybe the second or third best is arguable. But at the moment, just based off of head-to-head records and based off of who's beat who, then New Orleans has lost to the Stallions and to the Generals, which at the moment, if you're looking at power rankings after this week, you would be hard-pressed to say anything else than those two teams, the Generals and... you see Grant at the graduation? Tell him I said hi. Tell him we can Skype him in if we want. But these two teams are the two best teams in the USFL currently, are the Generals and the Stallions. And after week one, or after the first or second week at the very least, it was going to be hard to say or hard to pick the Generals as the top team in that North Division. I was definitely leaning towards the Stars myself, and the Stars have had to play some tough competition, especially this week, and we'll go into that game here. Birmingham gets back on track and pretty handily defeats the Philadelphia Stars 30-17, and I would be very interested to see how this team does on the road, in quotes, when this team makes it to the playoffs in Canton, Ohio, and they don't have the home field advantage. How does this team respond to that? Especially if it had to play a northern team, a team that could potentially have more fans travel to it. I could see that being an interesting matchup. Looking at passing, I don't know why, but Jamar Smith came in and played very good, 17 of 22, 77% passing, which this is the highest completion percentage that Jamar Smith has had this season. 203 yards at 10-ish, 9 technically, yards an attempt, 1 touchdown and no interceptions. Average QBR of 120. And Alex McGee was also in. I don't know if they didn't want to start Jamar Smith, or there was some point when Jamar Smith was injured, or maybe he had to leave the game at some point dealing with his sickness that he's had over the last couple weeks. But McGee did not play well. 4 for 11, 36 yards, 50 yards passing, a touchdown and an interception. So really, you are looking at, this is the team that is going to be hard to beat. Have you found more milk in your room? No, I've gotten all that taken care of. Thank you so much. But Grant, I'm getting bullied. This is why I need Granville here. I need somebody to bully back too if I'm going to be on Twitch here. But what else to see? I want to see, because I can look at. I shouldn't be just streaming that. Either way. Next thing is, so where was I at? So, yeah, Magoo didn't play well. Let's look at the Stars. Case Cookus got the start again for the Stars. 19 of 35, 205, 6 yards and attempts, no touchdowns, no interceptions. A workmanlike performance by Cookus. They really didn't get anything going on the ground, or they didn't even really attempt anything on the ground. Combined for 11 rushes in total, 2 of them by Cookus. They really were attempting to do this in the air. And I'm trying to... I don't know what happened to Brian Scott. Let me look it up real quick. But Brian Scott was the better of the two quarterbacks. Football? I have received a message from Granville. I don't know if you all can see this, but they are currently watching us at the graduation. Hello, Granville. Miss you, wish you were here. If you have anything you want to add to this conversation, you can send it in here onto the onto the chat. But Brian Scott, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he was injured or what. Brian Scott, let's look up Brian Scott football Twitter to see if no, not that one. Okay, Brian Scott QB. Believe Philadelphia Steelers quarterback. Okay. So yes, it is true. I've looked up Brian Scott. Classic SportsCast tradition. I got to figure out, or got to do some research while I'm on the air. But Brian Scott was injured. Here's the from May 5th or May 4th, so before last week's games. He tweeted out, extremely grateful for the opportunity this season with the USFL and the Philadelphia Stars. This has been such an unbelievable blessing and privilege to play football. Fox Sports and NBC have been incredible to the USFL. Players, everything about this league has been first class and an absolute honor to be a part of. I'm heading home for now to address my injury. We'll do everything I can to make it back this season for my teammates and coaches. I have the utmost confidence in Coach Andrus, the entire Stars coaching staff, and all my Stars teammates. To all of you who have reached out, I'm extremely grateful. It means so much. I am looking forward to watching my guys ball out this weekend. Go Stars, Brian Scott. So it does appear that Scott was injured over the course of the season, and Cookus has played well in relief. He's again, like Scott, he had previous experience in this system. I believe they were both. It's not Lou. It's the guy from the spring league. I don't remember his name, but they both have previous experience. Michigan sucks. Which one? Are you talking about this Michigan? Are you talking about the University of? Or are you talking about the Michigan Panthers? Because definitely Michigan Panthers suck. This Michigan is fairly decent if you count going to the college football playoffs last year. But either way, Brian Cookus has played well in relief for the Stars, but he's not a game winner. Brian Scott, over his couple of weeks as the starting quarterback, let's look at let's just go back to week 3 versus the New Jersey Generals, who are now I would consider one of the top teams in the league. Scott went while he was in the game. All Michigan sucks. Yeah, I mean, you're not incorrect. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to look in every time. I got a monitor the size of a postage stamp, and every let me if I do this. I can read it a little bit better that way, but everything is like minuscule size on that, so I can't barely read any comments. But you are correct. A lot of the Michigan sporting teams do suck, especially Michigan State, and the Lions. Sorry, Granville. The Lions do suck, and they will continue to suck for quite a long time. The Michigan Panthers that we've already talked about, they suck, and they also went and they signed Kyle Love, I believe. It was either them or the Maulers. Somebody signed Kyle Love, who was the original starting quarterback for the for Pittsburgh. And then I swear it was it Houston or was it? No, Clayton Thorson started for Houston. Who's Lee? Who the heck is this guy? Okay, let's look at this up real quick. Berg. We are. How is subbing? I'm actually not subbing anymore. I am doing building codes. I am creating, or I'm working with a housing company here in town, trying to build houses. I'm permitting department there. I wouldn't go on real much further than that because this is on the internet. I don't want it. It could be pretty easy to track me down if if you went out and did that, if you wanted to. But Vad Lee, looks like Vad Lee, whoever that is, got the start for the Maulers, and he actually played very good. We like the Maulers with a proper quarterback beat the Houston Gamblers. So maybe we're starting to get some turnaround here in Pittsburgh potentially. Vad Lee went 19 of 32, 60 yards completion percentage, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns at the pick, 5.3 yards an attempt. Kyle Laletta, while he was I'm your stalker. Well, you also got Granville right next to you, so you can, at least I hope that you have Granville right next to you. You know him. You can track me down pretty easily at that point. But Laletta was playing fairly decently before I guess he got injured. But in the end, with Lee at the helm of the offense, they did score 2 more touchdowns. They did score 2 touchdowns, which is better than they're kind of doing with. Look through the window behind you. Okay, what is this? Sorry, person behind you. I know. He got me. But what was I gonna say? You have to know us pretty decently in order to know that there's. Well, I mean, it makes sense. It looks like blinds, but you would have to be know us at least a little bit to double check that those were blinds. What was I gonna say? Back to football. Sorry, Laletta was playing fairly decently before he got injured, but the offense, at least the fact that that Lee scored 2 touchdowns, which ended up winning the game. Did do better than that, or did do better than Laletta. They may have had a good quarterback option there in Pittsburgh. Clayton Thorson, on the other end, is not a good option. 45% completion percentage, 165 a touchdown and a pick. And Thorson also led the team in rushing. He ran 17 times for 80 yards, which was very good clip. But you don't want your quarterback being the guy who leads the team in offense. And then let's see how it ended. So it actually ended with a game-winning drive. So dang. So it was a big comeback too. So in the fourth quarter, Houston's up 17-9, with 7 minutes left to go. Vad, I'm gonna call him Vlad, but his name is Vad Lee throws a deep pass, 30 yards down the left-hand side, for a touchdown that puts them up to 15-17. They go for 2, and the 2-point attempt fails. It's sad that this Pittsburgh team that is run by a former running back coach sucks so badly at running the football, but I digress there. Then Houston goes down the field. Thorson. Yeah, I was going to say Clayton Thorson is his name. I don't know. Oh, Thompson. Thompson. So they go down, or Houston drives down the field and they end up kicking a field goal. I guess to put them up by more than a field goal. So 15-20, Pittsburgh. And then with holy cow! Okay, so then Nick Vogel. I thought he's in the NFL. I thought he was still in the NFL. Vogel kicks it, and then Lee takes him right down the field one more time, and Groshek, and then with 4 seconds left to go in the game, throws a dagger to the end zone for a touchdown, and Vlad the Impaler goes and wins the game for the Pittsburgh Maulers, the Pukesburg Maulers, and ripping the heart out of Houston. Shameful, but who is Houston's head coach? Is it Gamblers head coach? Because if it's Kevin Sumlin, it is Kevin Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin. Shameful performance. You got beat. Kevin Sumlin got beat by stinking Kirby Wilson. Let's see. What do they say at the USFL? The Maulers have a capable QB. It only took cutting their QB2 and benching their first round pick. And then the next comments talking about Kevin Sumlin said Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans made that man millions. Can't forget Case Keenum helping him along the way. I don't know how you can blame Sumlin. The defense has played very good most weeks and his offensive schemes are good, just doesn't have a good QB operating at all. Yeah, this is coming from the guy, the team that just gave up 21 points to the worst offense in the USFL. Pittsburgh players are going to take their $800 win bonus to the Galleria and become the Maulers. For two of the worst teams in the league, this game was fun. I look forward to many more. Long live the USFL. Houston gambled on a fart, lost. Who plays coverage on the 9-yard line? I don't know. Bad Ali, I love you, says the OP, the original poster. I watched him make 2 clutch comebacks in your call football in 2019, and I've been begging for him to get a shot ever since. Now he goes out and does the same exact thing in the USFL. Super happy for the guy. Vad the Impaler, I'm glad that's catching on, was the best story of the season so far, getting Pitt their first win after being on the team for less than a week. I don't know. It's amazing. Pittsburgh Maulers have not won a game in almost 38 years. May 27th, 1984. Will they finally win again today? They did. What else is there? And also, looking at the Stallions game, well, whatever questions Skip may have about QB should be clearly answered today. Smith has a better understanding of his offense and better cohesion overall. The offense is just all around better with Smith at the wheel. Stallions not only win every game, but have fun games every week. Love watching them play. I hope Scarborough gets up to speed for next week. So he can get some more touches. That last drive was beautiful. Will the Stallions ever lose? Losing in the first round of the playoffs, I assume. Anything? Stallions hosting the only games that gets fans in the seat must definitely give them the advantage every game. That's what I was talking about. Home field advantage isn't that big enough to make a significant difference, in going 5-0 at home is elite either way. Wasn't able to watch the game live, just finished it. Sucked not having Channing Stribling, which Channing Stribling is the I believe he is the leading cornerback when it comes to interceptions in the league so far. So definitely missing him would be hard, especially against one of the best passing teams or one of the couple best passing teams in the league. A couple sketchy calls against the Stars too, especially one that gave Bug Howard gave up 2 and 20. After losing our running back early in the season, it's nice to see Paul Terry step up earlier in the game, although I think they should have used him way more. So, overall, it seems to be a fairly decent week of USFL gameplay. So, hopefully next week I'll be able to watch it a little bit more. Especially, I gotta watch Vad the Impaler. As much as I never thought I would say this at all, the Pittsburgh Mauler game next week might be must-watch TV. Actually, I'm gonna have to watch it anyway because the Maulers are facing my New Orleans Breakers. Now that they actually have a competent quarterback, it might be more of a game, especially if the New Orleans team doesn't play super hot with or if Kyle Sloter is still playing injured next week. If that is the case, then as much as I hate to say it, look out for upset alert there with Pittsburgh. Still, also I want to figure out what is Kyle Love. I would have assumed that Kyle Love would have been the starting quarterback, but I guess that I can't even talk. I guess that Shea Patterson is playing better than I ever expected him to. So, anyways, we'll talk about another 15 or so minutes here, folks. We'll talk relatively quickly about something. What was I going to say? Oh, okay, let's talk about this. It's a subject I really love to talk about. I talked about it a little bit with a guy I talked to or do a Bible study with, and we generally have some sports conversations in it. I'm not sure if he's probably not watching it today. I know he probably isn't because I don't know of anybody, or I don't think anybody is watching at the moment. But there is one sports joy that I really love. One thing about sports that I really love. Can I get that to sit? There you go, it works. I'm just going to leave it down there. There's one thing about sports that I really enjoy, and it's the different levels that you can play sports at, and that you can enjoy sports at. Because there might be something about this chair that makes things makes people want to knock into this setup here. But you can play sports at many different levels, and you can watch and enjoy sports at many different levels. Take, for example, take baseball, for instance. You've got the major league level, which you can watch and enjoy because there's the tradition there. You have 100+ years of history. You have your team, Cubs, the Twins, even the Reds. You have a connection between the team and the city, and you have a personal connection there. For whatever reason, you grow up loving the team, and the players may change year to year, but the team stays the same. But you also get that same experience at a lower level too, because you have your minor league teams. I love going to minor league baseball games. I love Granville. If you're still watching this, we need to go to a Sounds game at some point this year. But minor league baseball is just as enjoyable to watch in person as the major leagues, because it's still baseball. And the experience of watching baseball is enjoyable. There's something about being in the stands at a baseball game that is it's just enjoyable. It's relaxing. You get to watch the entertainment of the sport. You get the hot dogs. You get the ambiance. You get everything at sports. And it's a lot more relaxed. I like going to football games. I really do like going to football games. We also need to go to some more football games this year, Granville. At some point, we will, maybe week 7, whenever that New Orleans Michigan game happens, we will go down and watch that game. But the one thing about watching football versus watching baseball is that you have to actively watch football. You have to be a part of the game. You have to be sitting in the stands, and you have to keep an eye out. Because football is a fast game. I know there's some people, like, they talk about soccer, and there's an old argument between soccer and football people that, oh, your sport's boring. Oh, no, your sport's boring because you just stand around and do nothing the whole time. Yeah, well, you just kick a ball back and forth between each other. Both those games, there's always something happening. And every play, or every second in soccer, there could be an amazing play that leads to a score. And every play in football is the same exact thing. There is a shot at, every 20 seconds or so, there is a shot at just going down the field and scoring real quick. And it happens a little bit more often in football than it does in soccer, but to each their own on that. But with baseball, you just get to sit back and relax. The odds of a single pitch being a home run or doing something amazing are low. And I personally don't enjoy watching baseball a whole lot on TV for that reason. Because but the experience of the ballpark, to be out there with the fans, a sea of people, you have the hot dogs, you have everything that goes around at a baseball game is fun and interesting. Even if you don't like baseball, my church has gone to a Sounds game. And even if you don't like baseball, you can have fun at a baseball game. I can guarantee you that you will have fun at a baseball game. Even if you don't enjoy watching it on TV, I don't really enjoy watching baseball a lot on TV. I think it can be slow and boring. I love the game, but in order to properly enjoy it, you need to be at the ballpark. And even then, you can go to a sub-level because you still get that same experience with the major leagues, at the minor league level. And you can even go further lower with, like, rec league baseball. And one thing I enjoy, I've always enjoyed it, and if you all know more leagues like this, please let me know. I actually kind of look like a Vulcan. You can't even see my eyebrows. They kind of look like they're doing the Vulcan, like going up like this, and I should go like that and be like, oh, logical. But what was I gonna say? There's a league on YouTube that's called the MLW, Major League Wiffle Ball. And I'm sure none of them will ever hear this. I don't watch every video. I kind of keep track of the season as it goes on. But what it is basically not professional, or it is professional. They're getting paid for it because of YouTube ad revenue and stuff like that. But it's the league. It's a basically backyard baseball league. And I have always enjoyed that concept. This is something I've talked about on the SportsCast many times before, and it's really kind of a time killer at this point. But the creativity that these people show by creating a league with history and rivalries and so much stuff that is going on, and they put it up on YouTube. It's amazing. There's teams, they all have different identities, and the players, you get to know the players, you get to see their stats. The guy behind it, I already forgot his name. Kyle, something or other. Kyle, I can't remember his last name. But I can't remember. But the guy he's my age, or maybe a little bit older, maybe a little younger than me. He's in his early 20s. He's been doing this since he was like 13, 14 in his front yard. And he's put so much production value into it it's kind of what I want this show to be. I say production value as soon as this thing starts rocking back and forth, but I want to see that kind of production value on this show. I want, they do a great job imitating like the ESPN even style, and they have pre-draft, or they record and broadcast their draft because they have people, local people, or like people who they have guys who like the league has gone on far enough where they have players retire, and then they have guys who are like really young when they first started out this league, that they're in their they're graduated college and they're still playing, and they bring in new guys because they hold tournaments all over the place. They're based up in Michigan, so they have a tournament in Michigan. They have a tournament all around the Midwest and even out in like New York, I believe. But they bring guys in from these tournaments. These people, they're playing wiffle ball. They're like kids playing wiffle ball. And hey, guess what? You got drafted to be in this league, and the people show up and they play. It's amazing what like a combined effort does, and it created this league. I just find it fascinating that people could do this, and I would love to do something like this if I knew more people. But I would love to create a league like this. Or you go and you talk about, there's a bunch of golf YouTubers. I don't really like golf. You all know that at this point. But what was I going to say? Golf, there's a lot of golf YouTubers, and the way they do it, most notably for the style, and there's a lot of golf YouTubers who do primarily reviews of clubs and stuff like that, and they do go out and play and film that. Mark Crossfield is the guy I really like for that. But there's a group of guys, again, around my age, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little younger, I don't know. I'm really bad with ages. But there's a group of guys on YouTube. They don't need my exposure, especially like the one person that's out there listening to this, the two people that might watch on YouTube. This guy's called Good. I haven't watched him in a while. They're kind of frat bros. Not super into that. But they go out and they, like, almost daily, I don't know how often they post videos, but they go out and play. And it's a group of guys. You get to know the guys. You get to know they get to have in-jokes created, all this sort of stuff. Great presentation. They go out and they play. And they play really good golf. They play better golf than I ever could. But they go out and play. And they record it. And it's enjoyable to watch. It's weird. It's like it's a little bit like YouTube Let's Plays, because you could make the argument that the YouTube Let's Play was created because somebody, well, it's almost the descendant of watching sports on TV, because there's a lot of people. Boss was even mentioned this a couple days ago, that there's some people that just prefer to watch or to play sports than watch them, and I can totally get that. I love playing sports. But I've also had it conditioned into me to watch sports, and it's like watching a game, like on YouTube. There's a lot of people who would just prefer to play the game instead of watching somebody else do it. But you end up getting the companionship of these players, of these guys, who, I was thinking, well, it doesn't matter if it's like 58 frames a second isn't going to be. I have bought a new computer back there. I was in the process of setting it up. That's the reason why I'm late this morning, or this evening, I should say. But this computer that I currently have was the original computer for this, and now I've basically downgraded several components, and now we're chugging along. I go for 6 minutes. Either way. You get to know the people. You get to experience not their highs and lows, but you get a sense in a personality of these people, and it's like Major League Wiffle. You have just like Major Leagues, you develop rooting interests. I am a Pacific Predators fan in that league because the guy who I really thought he was a great player. He's still a great player. Alex Warda in that league. He is, I don't know, he's like, I can't even think of a major league comparison to him, or like even a historical one, which is probably more my wheelhouse. He is, I don't know, he's a very Pete Rose type player without the gambling, because Warda, I don't think he was ever a home run hitter. He was never a flashy guy at the bat, but his nickname could definitely be Charlie Hustle, along with Pete Rose. Remind me, folks, that's another nickname I can use for Granville. But Warda, I went or when I first started looking at the league, they had a couple of videos of highlights from it, because of course they did. And one of them was a video showing a lot of Alec Warda's highlights, and the guy, fast base runner, great defensively, and originally, and they won the championship 2 or 3 years ago, and the way they did that was because, and it was a great story. I hadn't followed the league for real long, but the guy goes and puts out 30 for 30 style documentaries about the winning team in each season. So he went back for this, the Predators won when they won. He went and Alec Warda had been a part of this league for a long time. The Predators were a part of this team for quite a while, with Warda as the captain and owner, I guess, of the league. But but the team sucked. It was an awful team. They were out there to have fun, really. And Warda never played travel baseball. He wasn't. A lot of the other guy, Kyle, and his brothers, as a lot of the other people in the league, had played travel baseball, and high school baseball. So they were all experienced baseball players. And Warda was like the equivalent of me going out there. Like, he was going out there to have fun. And Warda did develop to be a good player over the years. But his team stunk for forever. And he had one friend who was decent. I can't remember his name. But then they go out, and so the best team in the league, Schultz. This is Schultz brothers. Kyle Schultz being the owner of the league, or the GM, the creative mind behind the league. But there was another pitcher on the Western Wildcats, which is Kyle's team, Kyle Schultz's team. And Kyle Schultz is the pitcher on that team, and he's one of the best pitchers in the league. But Ryan Kratch was on that team, and he was also a pitcher. And he was a great pitcher, but he never got the start, or he wasn't the ace of the league of the team, because they had Kyle Schultz there, or maybe Daniel Schultz. Well, Daniel is his brother, is Kyle's brother. Kyle is the brains behind the league. Daniel Schultz is his brother, who may have been that great pitcher I was talking about. Either way, Ryan Kratch gets traded, or he traded to the Pacific Predators, who are a pretty garbage team, and he becomes, Warda had been the pitcher, and he wasn't a great pitcher, but they put Schultz, or Kyle, or Cratchit, Ryan Kratch, they put him as their starting pitcher, and he goes out and blows everybody away, and somehow the Predators make a miracle run to the playoffs, and maybe it was the next year after that or something. They turned around overnight. They got a good starting pitcher, because there's only 3 guys on the field. It's the pitcher and 2 outfielders, because it is wiffle ball. But Cratch becomes an ace level pitcher and goes out, and they win the World Series. And they have a guy on the team named Jimmy Norp. Or not on that team. That's on a different team. The Downtown Diamondbacks is what they call him. And Jimmy Norp is the Shohei Ohtani of MLW, because he's, 1, a great hitter, and 2, arguably one of the best pitchers in the league. So you've got all. It's definitely pitchers league. It's wiffle ball, and they don't have a lot of great hitters overall, and a lot of them are like great two-way players because you got the Schultzes and all of them. You already talked about Jimmy Norp, but there's stars in this league, and it's gotten big enough where they went on like the MLB Network, and a lot of their plays have been on the ESPN top 10 lists, best plays. So somehow this Kyle Schultz went and took this concept from, it was a bunch of kids bumming around in their front yard. It was like two teams, and they called it a league, and they turned it in. He turned it into a minor media circus, not media circus, minor media dynasty. So it's absolutely amazing. Amazing circumstances. I love that. I love the entrepreneurial spirit there. I would love to do something similar. If I had been a better people person, or smarter as a youth, if I had known about this back when I was 13, 14, I would have done, and I don't know, I could potentially do it if I really wanted to. I don't have the time anymore now. I got a real job. But I would do a golf league. There's been talk about some people from Saudi Arabia setting up their own competitor to the PGA Tour, but and it wouldn't be anywhere on the level, but it's already in the air. So if I had similarly aged people that wanted to do a weekly golf tournament, go to play different courses around Nashville or wherever, I think that would be really great. I think that'd be an interesting idea. If only I knew more people who played golf. Now that I'm older, I kind of lost contact with all the people I used to play golf with back in the first tee. But I don't know. It's really interesting. Me and Grandma, at one point, I talked to him about this. We had thought about dodgeball. I didn't like dodgeball. Flag football. And also talk about major leagues that are like basically recreational that have gotten some attention. You have the Nashville Vintage Baseball Association, where they go out and play baseball as the way God and Harry Chadwick or not Harry Chadwick, Harry Cartwright. It's the way that they intended. 1864 rules, catch the ball on the bounce, all that sort of stuff. And I've watched a couple of their games. I've been to their games. I would love to play that at some point if I ever had time. Maybe document it. I don't know. It's interesting, I think, that the way that people can come together and create their own leagues, and every now and again it just catches fire. It catches a light, and you have more than there's interest that is developed for these leagues. It's amazing. I would really love to do something like that. Maybe on the SportsCast, I always do that. Maybe on the SportsCast Presents over here, on 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, we can discuss a little bit more about that while we continue on with our NCAA 14 Dynasty. But with that, I guess we'll draw the show to a close. I got to finish putting that computer together before I end up going to bed tonight before work. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully the stream wasn't too bad. Just me by myself. Again, remember, SportsCast on SportsCast Presents. That's Tuesdays at 7:30. We will be, like I said, continuing our NCAA 14 Dynasty down here. I got the microphone in the way, so I can't really see. You can follow us on Instagram here at the.sports.cast, or you can send us an email over here at askgrantandben@gmail.com. That is the correct email now. Feel free to email that if you ever want to. You can follow us here on Twitch at twitch.tv/noiseInGeneral, or you can look at us up on YouTube if you miss a broadcast. Look us up on YouTube. That is at the SportsCast with Ben and Gran. I know we didn't really do a good job with marketing, considering that the email is Ask Gran and Ben, and the name is with Ben and Gran. I know we're kind of scattered on that. Tune back in next time for hopefully a show with 100% more Granville in it. So, thank you all so much for watching. See you all next week. You all have a nice evening. Good night.